Thank you for listening to the Golden Hour Drip podcast with me, Logan Lee Miller. Enjoy the show. You know what feels so good? For it to hit 5 o'clock, the sun to be out, a couple hours, not hours, maybe, I don't know. What I'm trying to say is it feels so good to have the sun out for longer. Okay, we are almost to the first day of spring. I know it's in the middle of March or the end of March, somewhere, okay? And it just hit me today that I was like, oh, it's 5 o'clock, it's sunny out, like it's beautiful, the clouds are out, it's gorgeous, okay? And I'm like, dang, like we really finally made it. Like I'm so excited to welcome spring and be outside, do all the things. And it just makes me feel good after I get done with like a work day to be able to then take an afternoon to still have things to fill up my schedule and not feel like it is pitch black out and time to go to bed. So I am feeling good. The studio is lit up because it's still daylight out, right? Like I'm setting up my my lights and I'm like, do I even need these? Like for the past couple months, I've needed some sort of artificial lighting to make sure that it wasn't too dark in my studio, but it's beautiful. It's stunning. I'm so happy. And happy Friday. Oh my gosh. So it is the segment, Ask the Gals, Ask Your Gal. So I have 3 questions submitted today. If you would like to submit your questions, you can comment them down below if you're watching on YouTube, or you can DM me on Instagram at Golden Hour Drip. And of course, there is a link on the audio podcast if you would like to, submit your questions there. So let's get into it. The first question I thought was kind of fun and lighthearted. It is, where would you live if it wasn't Missouri? Okay, I love Missouri and I absolutely adore where we live. It kind of is like the perfect segment of out in the country, but still so close to conveniences like restaurants, shopping centers. Like I do appreciate and love where I live so much, and there is such like a nostalgic feeling with where we live. I love it. I love it so much. Now, while I don't think that we will live in this specific house for multiple years, or forever is what I mean. We'll live here for multiple years, but I don't necessarily think this is somewhere we will retire at. Right? Like we'll probably move down the road or something. But I do really appreciate where we live and love it so much. Now, if I had to live somewhere else that wasn't here, say like a different state, I really romanticize living in the city. I do think that would be fun, but honestly, I don't see it long term for me. This is something that I wish maybe I would have done when I was younger, of stepping out or trying new things or living somewhere that I've never lived before. But I don't think that long term I would love it. I will say last year I visited Scottsdale, Arizona, and it was absolutely beautiful. And I could definitely see myself thriving in a warm environment. The mountains are just stunning, gorgeous, immaculate. I really love Scottsdale. I could see myself with an in-ground pool, The only thing that would scare me just a little bit is like the sun. So I definitely have like a huge floppy hat. But also with Arizona, like I'm a little worried about my garden not being able to grow there, or just it being desert. So then I think, maybe Arizona wouldn't be the right spot for me. I really am in love with Missouri. I think it's a great spot to be. I haven't found, I guess, the best alternative for me on where I would like to go. Like I said, the city, Chicago, I love Chicago, loved Arizona, but honestly, nothing compares to where we are right now. I will say, if you are, going into college or you're graduating from college and you're just in these like very early years of your life, I would recommend like trying different places, trying different states. As a kid, I moved around quite a bit. I lived in Georgia for some time. I lived in Iowa for quite a bit of time. And I would not trade those experiences for anything. And I think it really like helps shape you as a person to experience different places. That's why I think traveling as an adult, you know, with adult money is so good. I realize like when you're younger, maybe it's not as achievable, but I do think that traveling when you are, you know, an adult is so good. And to constantly try to expose yourself to different living environments, different people, different cultures is so good. And although I don't think that we are moving anytime soon, I will absolutely welcome any sort of travel that comes in 2024 and the years to come. And who knows, maybe one day, but at this time, I'm pretty happy with where I live. So the next one is, I feel so lame because it seems like everyone has a friend group and I don't have anyone to text or hang out with. How did you find your friends? So I think friendships as an adult are so important. We spend so much of our time networking for our jobs and career or finding a significant other. I feel like for me, that was something that was so driven. It's like, okay, what college are we going to? What are we majoring in? What job are we going to get right out of college? Like, do you have a boyfriend? Are you going to get married? And all those things that come along with it. But I think we need to put more of an emphasis on female friendships or friendships in general, like if you're a boy. But I think it is important to try to cultivate friendship with individuals that are not only going to like give you insight on different situations and your, you know, day-to-day experiences. It's nice to have someone outside of your family, outside of your, you know, workplace. And so that support can be really, really helpful. Also, having friends who are either in the same situation as you, right? And you can get insight in that aspect, or having a friend who is like a couple years older, where it's more of like a mentorship relationship, where they can tell you, oh, like I made these mistakes, or this is the advice I would give you, or even having like friendships who are younger than you and it being a mentorship in that aspect where you're like, hey, I did this. Take it as you will, but maybe the boy that they're dating isn't like good for them, or how to pivot in their career, or any of those things that come up, right? Like we want advice. And I can only speak to the female aspect, right? Because I am a girl and that's the only experience I know. But to be able to have like a group of friends to kind of survey the audience, like, what are you guys doing? How do you like this? And it's really impactful and powerful. Now, when you did not grow up in the same place your entire life, that would be me, okay? I did not, I wasn't, what's it called? They're like a kindergartner. It's like the OGs or whatever. They literally went to kindergarten together and they graduated high school together and then they went off to college in a similar region or location. That was not me, okay? I moved around, like I said, quite a bit, different schools, different locations. And so for me, it was very common practice for me to find friends quickly. And because I was put in so many different environments, it was great practice to break the ice, to have small talk, and it's uncomfortable. It is so uncomfortable. And I remember being in 7th and 8th grade, that was like the last move that I did of my, you know, high school, middle school, elementary, my grade school, if you will. And it was so nerve-wracking. I remember being so nervous, and it was harder to break into those friendship groups and say, hey, like, you know, I need a friend essentially. And I definitely had to get comfortable with inviting myself places. If I saw like a group of friends who I wanted to also be friends with, they would be talking, oh, like we're gonna go to the movies on Friday. I'd be like, oh, that's so fun, can I come? And just getting really, really comfortable inviting yourself places, because normally, right, even if they find it's a bit annoying at first, they'll be like, sure, you can come. They're usually not going to say, no, you can't come. And if they say, no, you can't come, you know those aren't your people. But if they're like, yes, absolutely, you can come, then you go. Even if they're a little hesitant and they're like, yeah, sure. That's because they just don't know you yet. They don't know how amazing of a person you are, and how you can have a mutually benefiting relationship. So getting comfortable inviting yourself places. I would definitely recommend going to common spaces, right? Like a coffee shop, going to a workout class, or if there's a place, maybe you're in college, where everyone goes and studies, striking up a conversation with a friend, or I'm sorry, with a stranger in hopes of becoming friends, can be really, really scary. But I promise you, it's easier than you think. I find that when I'm in a workout class, like right before it gets started, just to look at my neighbor and be like, hey, do you usually take this class? Or I say, that was awkward, but you're gonna be awkward. Okay, but I might say, hey, I'm Logan, do you usually take this class? And they usually say, hey, like, I'm Amaya, yes, I usually take this class, or something like that, right? Like, they're going to be a human. They're not going to be like, and not talk to you, right? Like, that would be so, like, 1 in a million that someone's going to have, like, a bad sort of reaction to you. They're not going to do that, okay? And if they do that, if you are that, like, one situation where they're like, no, sorry, not looking for friends, no, sorry, I don't want to, like, hang out, that's not your person. And it's good practice to just be inviting yourself and to start making those connections. Hey, I hope that you're enjoying today's podcast episode. Just a quick interruption to let you know that Golden Hour Drip has a weekly newsletter that comes out. This has bonus content, weekly updates, and future event information. If you haven't already, go down to the show notes, click the link, and join today. Now, back to the show. That is the best way, and that is pretty much how I found all of my friends. It is so hard making friends as an adult. It's hard to put yourself out there, and a lot of your friends will come from work, and that is not a bad thing. If you have friends at work, maybe you guys go to a function together, introduce yourself to their friends, right? That's a great way to find more people, and you're not necessarily having to hang out with the people from work. Volunteering is a great way to find new people and new experiences. I have volunteered on a couple boards, and that's a great way to meet new people, new friends. There are so many creative ideas on how to get your friendship group, that it's nerve-wracking, it's scary, but as long as you're doing it with like a genuine interest in people, others are gonna see that energy in you, they're gonna be drawn to you, and you will find friends in no time. Again, you can look for like an event in your area. I host the Golden Gal Network, which is monthly meetups. Sometimes it's much more than just once a month, but if you do not live in the Kansas City or surrounding area, finding one in your area. There's so many book clubs, meetup groups that you can find your friend group and find the people who get you and who you get, and can just like find some collaborative measures. So good luck to you on your friendship endeavor. Again, if you are in the Missouri area, go ahead and follow Golden Gal Network on Instagram and sign up for our email list. We have so many fun events coming up, and that can be a great way to make friends as well. The third and last question of this week's episode is, how can I create boundaries with my phone? I feel like I'm doom scrolling my life away. Me too, sister. Me too. Oh my gosh, I feel like your phone can be such an asset, right? Like, it gives you so much information. And I know on the days where my phone is dying or I left it in the car, it's not necessarily a panic of, oh, I need my cell phone, I have to check it. It'd be like those inconveniences of, oh, like, I need to Google this. Let me give you an example. So last week I was coming home from a workout class and my phone was not connecting to my vehicle. Okay, like my cord is going bad in the truck, so it usually like hooks up to my phone, my maps pop up, my Spotify pops up, and I'm able to click it and it'll say, oh, this is how we get home, right? it was not connecting. Okay, my cord was going bad, is going bad, still going bad. I have not ordered a new cord. Okay, so I'm just like trying to plug this thing in. It's not working. I'm also kind of still driving. Okay, it's 11 o'clock at night. I'm trying to plug this thing in. It's not popping up. And I immediately was like, oh my gosh, my phone does not have the maps on it. How am I gonna get home? And I was like, Logan, you have a brain in your head. You take this route at least 3 times a week, okay? You can figure out on how to get yourself home. And so I started navigating. I was like, okay, like I don't actually need my phone, but I know that feeling of you want your phone. It's such an asset. It's so good. Like it gives you anything you could possibly want. If you want to, order food, if you want to see what someone else is doing on social media, if you want to call your parents, if you want to text your sister, like so many great things. But it is a slippery slope. And there are so many times where I will pull up my phone and I will have the intention of doing one thing. I'll be like, okay, like this is what I'm going to do. And I get distracted and I'm like, oh, what's this email? Or, oh, it's an email for my credit card for points. And then I go and check my credit card and then I'm like, oh yeah, I ordered something from online and now I need to check where that package is. And then I go and check the package. And then I'm like, oh yeah, you know what would be a great accessory to this thing that I've already purchased? And then I'm scrolling on another website and really, I went to check the UV because I wanted to get outside and touch some grass and get off my phone, right? So it's easy to spiral. It's easy to just like doom scroll. And something I've like learned this past week, and it seems like such a simple construct, but you have to be present to make memories. You have to be in the moment, living fully and living present to make a memory. Think about all the times where you've scrolled on your phone and you're like, oh, do what you do, like not paying attention. You might, and probably, it's very slim chance that you remember what you scrolled and looked at. Now, if you favorited something, if you saved it and you're able to go back to it, then you're like, oh yeah, I remember that. But it's not a core memory. Your core memories, your most exciting memories, you have to be fully present for. You have to be fully in the moment. And when you are just scrolling, you're not making memories. And so I always catch myself when I'm scrolling, when I'm being too zoomed in on my phone, that to take a step back and to think to myself, hey, like, this is great, this is amazing, it's so much fun, but am I gonna remember this when I'm 80 years old? Am I gonna think back, oh my gosh, I'm so glad that I spent so much time on my phone? No. Now, maybe thinking this is not gonna help you. You're like, okay, cool, like exactly, I don't wanna be thinking about my phone when I'm 80 years old. Give me some tips, like what can I actually do? And bringing awareness to the situation is so powerful. Just knowing, hey, I've been spending a lot of time on my phone and trying to set it down. You are breaking the habit, right? Like you're breaking that cycle of, hey, like I'm gonna set my phone down. Putting it 2 steps further. When you catch yourself thinking, hey, I've been scrolling for a while, setting your phone down, doing some jumping jacks, doing a push-up. Honestly, if you can't do a push-up, just jump around, dance around, shake your body. That's out of the norm. Usually when you're scrolling on your phone, you don't do that, right? Like you're not doing something crazy. And so doing that breaks the cycle, and then you can refocus on whatever you are intentionally trying to accomplish and do, whether that's make a plan with a friend, or clean your room, or search music up so then you can get on your work day. Your phone is addicting. We all love the dopamine effect. We all know that this is truth. Setting time limits is really helpful. Breaking the cycle, like I said, jumping around, setting your phone down, having awareness to the thought is so good. Putting your phone in the other room is great. I've noticed that I have been really diligent on not looking at my phone before bed, and I've had the most deep sleep yet. And I fell asleep so much faster. So putting your phone in the other room, reading a book, replacing that habit with something else. I've been puzzling in the morning with my cup of coffee. It's great. I love it. It's so like easy and hard at the same time, right? But usually I leave my phone in the other room, I make my coffee, I sit down, I puzzle, I wait until the clock strikes 8:24 a.m. and I'm picking up my phone and I'm going to work, okay? So finding those little ways to break the cycle can be so powerful to not become so attached to your phone, okay? But know this, you are not alone, and we are all struggling and working on this together. So thank you to everyone who submitted questions this week. I really enjoyed chatting with you, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.